In this section, we're going to talk about basic sorting of arrays in JavaScript. But before I do that, I wanted to clarify some things with the slice method from the last video. So because I may have confused it a little, I wasn't quite clear enough about the arguments. So what the arguments define here is we're starting at the index 2 and we're stopping right before index 6. So actually, let's change it to 5 maybe. So here we go. Let's refresh this. And we got x5. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it got the index right before 5. So it stopped at 5. But it got the actual element at index 2. So you should keep that in mind when working with slice. This is not the actual element at index 5. It's the element right before. You're going to stop slicing at index 5, if that makes sense. So this is the starting index, and this is the index to stop at. So we get the element right before 5. The fifth index, I mean. And in this case, we got x5, that's index number 2, x6, index number 3, and x4, index number 4, which is right before index number 5. And that's what we got in the SUV models. All right, so let me get back to sorting. So oftentimes when working with data, we need it sorted in order to serve a proper sort of presentation purpose or sort of organization, because oftentimes we like to have things organized properly, and sorting allows us to organize our array elements. So we have a couple functions for sorting in JavaScript. So what we're going to do is we're going to have an array of last names. So last names. We're going to have a couple. So let's have Zappa, Page, Lane, I don't know, Bowie maybe, Streisand, I don't know who else, I don't know, Joplin. So we have an array of last names, and we want to sort them. So let's sort them. It's easy to sort them. So we're just gonna sort them like this. You just do dot and you type in sort. This is a method that sorts the values alphabetically. So let's see that. And you get things in from B, J, P, S, W, Z. Those are alphabetical order. So sorts values in alphabetical order. Well, actually, they sort them by the ASCII values. So the ASCII value for B comes before the ASCII value J, and so on. So we're going to try sorting actually now. We're going to try sorting a list of numbers. So let's say scores. We're going to have 77, 88.8, 154, 100, and 93. So what happens if we try to sort this? Well, you're not going to get the answer you might expect. Scores. Instead, we got 154, 77, 80, 88.8, and 93. So what happened here? Well, it turns out the sort function in JavaScript sorts by the ASCII values unless we have an argument defined in here. So we have to define some sort of, so hold on a sec, let me write out sort again. Here you could say you see comparison function. So you got to define some way to sort. And how are we going to do that? So we're going to make a function up here. Function. And it's going to be called number sort. A, B. A minus B. So what we're doing here is we got to define some sort of way for JavaScript, the interpreter, JavaScript, to know how to sort. Well, we're going to do it in the ascending order by comparing the two numbers sort. And we're going to see how that works. And there you go. So what I'm doing here is I'm doing it in the ascending order. And in JavaScript, we need a comparison function to check with numbers especially, how to sort. So here we have that. So this is, we'll talk about functions later on, but basically we define function with a name, number sort, and we need 2 arguments to compare. So we need to compare each and every element to the other. So, and then it sorts based on the return of a minus b. So it does 77 minus 88, 88 minus 44, 70, it does all of these. It sorts them and it sorts out properly. The magic of sorting is we don't have to know what's going on. We just know it sorts things. So that's ascending. So let's try plus, see what happens. And you get some sort of weird order. So you got to be careful with that. What this did actually, no, never mind. Just remember this. And let's do b minus a now. Do the opposite. Actually, it did the same. So what it did here, what we're doing here is basically we defined a function that will sort things, numbers ascending. Because I did this because, well, sort only sorts by ASCII values unless we have a sort of function that defined for us. We'll talk about functions later on, and we might come back to sorting later in later chapters. But just know that sorting only works with strings by default. So you got to be careful with that. Okay, so we have one last thing I'd like to show you. Is the, actually I'm going to need those. So we also have a way to reverse sort of the order of elements in the array. This won't necessarily sort them descendingly, in a descending order. Descendingly, is that a word? No, descendingly is not a word, excuse me. So we would have the following. So we have here last names, and we have reverse. So what this is going to do, it's going to sort the array in the by reversing the index of reversing each index. So what it did, it put Joplin, Streisand, Bowie, Wayne, Page, and Zappa in that order. So it reversed the order of the array. This might come in handy when working with some things, but just so you know, this doesn't reverse the order, alphabetic order. It just reverses the order, literal order in the array. And one more thing I'd like to mention is that when you have elements like this, you might not want to have multiple types when sorting. Because if you have multiple types in sorting, you might get some weird results. So let's take the example with scores and sort them with our function defined above. Number sort. And we're going to have, I don't know, 62. Let's see if it does. Oops, I didn't save it. I did last names, my bad. Let's see. We're going to do scores. And here it did everything properly because JavaScript converted everything as it should. It converted the number directly to, converted the string directly to a number. All right, so let's actually put the word 62 and see what we get. Notice here the string is put at the beginning. That's because it's sort of like an outsider of the numbers, so it got put at the beginning. So, and because it probably converted the ASCII values, since here there's a lot of letters, there's a lot of ASCII values to convert, which makes a large number, so it got put first. So, I mean, maybe you wouldn't do this anyway, but just keep in mind, when sorting things, be sure to have them unique to, to have one unified type inside the array. So, and one last thing here, let's see if I added, I don't know, 99 to this last names array. Oops, I didn't display. Let's see. Last names. Sort. There we go. And we got 99 put at the beginning, showing us that sorting is done based on ASCII value. Because in the ASCII table, if you look it up online, numbers always come before letters. Okay, And to repeat one last time, if you are not sure what this number sort does, what I did here. So in JavaScript, to repeat myself, sorry if you can stop the video now because I'm just gonna repeat some stuff with the number sort I just did up there. So when I did sort, there's an argument called comparison function. What this does, it sorts based on the results of this function. And for number sorting, it turns out that we can just check each element against it by like subtracting. JavaScript will work its magic and automatically plug everything in and compare everything and get the final result. So here we would put the function we just defined, number sort, and everything should turn out fine. And that's how you would sort your numbers properly. So to recap, this function has the numbers from the array plugged in, and each result is compared, and the results that get larger results are put at the beginning of the array, and everything is sorted. So, and with the string, it got something weird because it works with ASCII values and converts them to numbers, and that's why you get the string comes first. So here, it did ascending when we did a minus b, and let's do b minus a now. And it did the opposite. So b minus a means you'll get descending, and a minus b means you'll get the ascending order of numbers. So you can kind of see it when you do b and a, because b comes after a. So we want b first and then a. So if you kind of visually see that, so go from down from the greater one to the smaller one, and a goes from the smaller one to the greater one, if you kind of see that. Don't worry if you don't know what all this means. We'll talk about functions later on in another chapter. So I think I'll stop here, and with that, I think I'll conclude this tutorial.